Hello, my name is Eric Prosher, and I'm from Jesse Brown VA Medical Center. And today we have a special guest from our VA hospital. His name is Phil Marinan, and for the next 25 minutes we're going to be talking about our compensated work therapy program at Jesse Brown VA, and Phil's going to fill us in on the latest and greatest at Jesse Brown. So those of you at home, you're watching a live call-in interactive program brought to you by CAN TV 21. So call us with your questions at 312-738-1060. So hi Phil, thank you for coming onto the program.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Prosher.
All right, so compensated work therapy program. Why don't we start off with that? What is compensated work therapy program? What is your role, and how does this impact the veterans seeking health care at Jesse Brown VA Medical Center? I know that's a lot, so let's take it slow. And also later on, we're going to have another special guest. I forgot, but where should we start?
All right, sure. Let me start with telling everyone about CWT program. So CWT, or Compensated Work Therapy. So it's pretty much like a term used 35 years ago when vocational rehabilitation services started with all VA medical centers, and pretty much started as incentive therapy program where veterans were able to learn how to do piece rate work, but that was 35, 40 years ago. So nowadays it's still called CWT program, but it's really more of vocational employment and training services. We're focused on providing services to veterans to gain or get gainful employment in the community.
So right, so it's about completing the full circle of recovery and actually getting veterans back and in wage earning jobs.
It is, yeah. Basically, that's our mission, is to help veterans get meaningful employment and to get them help them back on their feet.
Great. Yeah. Well, while you ponder that, why don't we show a little video made by VA Central Office that talks a little bit about the program. Whoops.
Hello, I'm John Glenn. I've had a number of exciting careers in my life, more than I ever could have hoped for. They began with my years as a member of our nation's Marine Corps. And I feel both fortunate and grateful for each opportunity I was given, not only in but after I left the Marines. And that's why I'm here today to talk about opportunity. You know, it's a sad fact that thousands of men and women who once defended our country and our way of life are now struggling to become productive members of the communities they once protected. My fellow veterans are searching for the opportunity to work. These are people who have had experience working as a team and with a purpose greater than just their own self-interest. The corporate executives like you are searching for quality workers with a solid work ethic who value their employment. Through Veterans Industries, your company now has the opportunity to hire the type of workers you're looking for through a working partnership with Veterans Industries.
All right, Phil. So, was that a good representation of some of the work that CWT is doing at Jesse Brown?
Yes, certainly. That message really helped a lot of our veterans get employment through the training opportunity that they've got from the medical centers. But at this present time, though, we also encourage our veterans to seek competitive employment. A lot of our veterans who get referred to our program are pretty much job ready. So they don't go through the training program anymore. And
I noticed in that video that the woman that had obvious physical limitations and disabilities, which isn't always the case. With people coming through your program are looking for employment and have the skills already.
That's correct. So when we assess a veteran as having the skills skill set that they for the type of job that they're looking for. Pretty much it's a matter of matching the veteran with the right job and the right employer. So,
Okay. So how does a veteran qualify for this program?
sure, great question. So a lot of we do get a lot of walk-ins in my office every day.
And where's your office?
We are located. Thank you for asking. We are located on, of course, Jesse Brown VA, 820 South
Damon
Damon,
Avenue? Mhm.
and we are on the fourth floor of the Taylor Pavilion. So when a veteran comes by to ask about CWT program, so how they access our services, they have to be, we are a clinical program, so they have to be referred by their primary care provider.
So anyone accessing VA health care at Jesse Brown or mental health care,
That's correct.
and they have a treatment coordinator that they meet with regularly, that would be the person they would talk to about getting a consult or being referred to the CWT program.
Yes, that's correct. So whether they're receiving mental health services or medical services, so the primary care provider, their psychiatrist or a general provider can put in the consult for our program.
Okay.
And once we get the consult, they usually would get a call back within 24 hours, and we will assess their skills and interest, and we will work with them based on that.
Great. So how long does the program last? What would a veteran expect? How long would they expect to be meeting with you? And maybe we can talk about what happens during your meetings and
Sure. Usually the process, how it works, so when we get the referral, we sit down with the veteran, so we kind of like do really an extensive initial interview. We talk about interest, educational background, we talked about interest in previous employment, we looked at some of their future goals. We really want to make sure that kind of like really know the veteran
yes.
and work with them based on that information. A lot of times, even during the first meeting, we start working on a resume. We'll take a look at their employment history, see how we can improve, presenting their information to the employer the best way possible. Yeah.
Okay. For those of you that may have just joined us, you're watching CAN TV, and I'm Eric, and this is Phil, and we're from Jesse Brown VA Medical Center. We're talking about compensated work therapy for veterans, and particularly the program at Jesse Brown that Phil works in. So if you have any questions about that, please give us a call, 312-738-1060. Our lines are open. This is a live call-in interactive program. So Phil was telling us that you really spend the time to get to know the veterans that come to your program to make sure you match them in, in a career path that fits their needs, goals, and desires. Sounds very patient-centered.
Yes,
Yes.
pretty much.
Or-
And when
or
we
recovery
kind of like
focused.
yes, when we assess them and based on their needs and interests, so they usually would like we have different tracks in our program. So a veteran, we see a lot of veterans who've been unemployed, for example, for 5-10 years, good amount of time. So they need a little bit of experience adjusting to the work environment. Having a veteran like that, the transitional work program we have available would be an appropriate track for them.
Okay.
There are veterans who are really work ready, a lot of
Okay.
skills.
So
recent-
why don't we just identify what the different tracks are, and we'll just give a brief description of what those tracks are in your program, because this sounds like it's a continuum of services that
Oh,
you
sure.
have.
Yeah.
So
So
you have a program called that consists of training and getting a person prepared to work. And what's that called? The transitional work program.
Yeah.
And then the next program is for the veterans that already come in there with the skill set and they know they're ready for work. What do you call that?
That's our community-based employment.
Community-based employment.
Yeah.
Great. And then are there any other?
And then
programs?
there's also, we have supported employment program as well.
Okay.
And this is for veterans with significant barriers to employment.
Okay.
Usually with veterans who have either
Yeah, what are some of those barriers?
either physical or disabilities, physical or mental health disabilities.
Okay.
Yeah. So really, there's ongoing support. When we assist them finding employment, we stay with that veteran for as long as we can or as long as they need us.
So kind of like a coach or
Yes, pretty much a job coach
like a job
will be there
coach.
to support the veteran and advocate for them with if there's any issues with their employer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do all three of these programs compensate? Is there compensation while they're in the program?
It's so the compensated work therapy. So it's like I mentioned earlier, it's a little bit of a misnomer.
Okay.
So we do have the transitional work, which the veteran is compensated for their training.
Okay.
Yeah, they actually do work, so they get a training stipend.
Okay.
When a veteran goes to our community-based employment track, so of course they get compensated by their employer.
Right.
Yeah,
So they're getting paid. Right.
yeah, they're getting paid.
They're getting paid. All right. So did you talk about what kind of training is offered or?
I can mention some.
Okay.
So within the medical center, we have partnerships with the different services. And those services, we have placed veterans in our engineering service. You know, like a lot of our veterans who have experience in plumbing, carpentry, paint shop, HVAC, or biomedical. They usually go into that department. We have housekeeping, food service, customer service. We have placed veterans in our prosthetics department
Okay.
for supply and also logistics. Yeah.
Could you maybe talk about a little bit about one of your success stories to give our viewers at home an idea of type of work?
Sure.
Yeah.
And you know, usually when I'm asked like, what's your success story? You know, like a lot of our organization and a lot of companies usually talk about success in terms of numbers. You know, how many veterans you have employed, or it's more of quantitative measurement. But I measure success usually when a veteran comes by my office and tells me that, hey, after they got their first paycheck, they're pretty happy with their place of employment. You know, they have a place to stay, and like a veteran who told me that he recently got a new bed from his first paycheck. It's like that's a success story that you know you really can't measure, but a smile on somebody's face is a good measure of
Yeah.
success. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Again, for those of you that may have just joined us, we are from Jesse Brown VA Medical Center. We have Phil Marinan, who works for our compensated work therapy program. And we're talking a little bit about the programs that Jesse Brown VA has to assist veterans getting back into the workforce. So I want to switch gears a little bit and then in a while talk about other training opportunities that you have. Before we do that, so this also involves not just working with veterans, but a big part of your role is actually working with community and employers.
Yes, absolutely.
And so if employers are watching, what would be the advantage of working with the VA and partnering and collaborating and getting veterans? You know, what does a veteran through this program offer over those regular civilians out there?
Yeah. So that's a pretty important part of our job as placement professionals or vocational counselors is our partnership with all the employers, community employers. Like yesterday, I was at the Des Plaines Chamber of Commerce Veterans Hiring Fair, and that event really allowed us to meet employers and encourage them to partner with us, because important part of our mission is to really get our veterans employed as quickly as possible. So when we tell employers that we have a pretty good number of job-ready, qualified candidates that they can access for free. They don't have to go through a staffing agency. All our services are free. So we could connect with them with qualified candidates and also assist them with assistance sometimes in terms of making sure that their place of business is accessible. We give them tips on ADA related issues or assistive technology or accommodations that an employee might need when they're having challenges on the job. So.
Okay. So how do you connect? How do you find employers? And if an employer that's out there watching tonight wants to get in touch with you to start getting veterans hired in their company, how will they find you?
They can email or call me directly. I'll be happy to connect with you. My direct number is 312-569-8624. And we also have a job fair that will be going on February 15th. It's a healthcare, logistics, and manufacturing hiring fair. So.
All right, there it is up there. So thank you, Phil, for coming on. And viewers at home can see that there's a hiring fair for employers. It's going to be at Jesse Brown VA, 820 South Damon on February 15th, 2018, from 12:30 to 3:30. Thursday, and so give us a call if you're interested. You can call Phil at 312-569-8624. So now we have another guest. His name's Patrick Vickery, and I hear you're also working the program as an intern, and you are also a veteran.
Correct.
And so thank you for your service. And why don't you tell us a little bit about your role and how voc rehab and compensated work therapy fits into your life and your view of veteran readjustment.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dr. Prosier, for having me on. So I left the military in 2016, went in and I started my master's program, and in my second year started the internship and practicum here at Jesse Brown with the compensated work therapy. So going into it, you don't really know exactly everything about the program because it's a diverse program that serves a wide, diverse population. So, going at it every day, you're constantly learning. And then with Phil's supervision and tutorship, I have, learned a little bit about being just the counselor, and then I've learned a lot about being a vocational rehabilitation specialist. So, and it's a diverse field because you have to be able to, work with that veteran, know their individual interests, their aptitudes, what they want to do. But then you have to be able to go out there and, advocate for that veteran, whether that's talking to a business, talking to another government agency, and trying to set up conditions that help that veteran find employment.
Cool. Can you? Are there some principles that kind of guide you in your quest to help veterans transition from from military to career?
I actually thought about it for a while recently, and it's not conscious that you do it, but when I was in the Army for 8 years, and I was a field artillery officer. And when you're in that position, you have to be a leader, you have to have compassion for the soldiers that are underneath you. And then I never really thought about it until recently that, that same investment in personnel has gone into my internship, because when I'm working with a veteran, I find myself totally invested in their, success. And, you never want to set them up for failure, so you have to do everything you can to set the conditions right for them. But, that's what it's about. It's about really caring to see that veteran succeed and find a better quality of life.
Yeah. Very nice. So you've heard it here on Ken TV, and we're Jesse Brown, and we're talking about compensated work therapy. We have, I guess we're running out of time, and I wanted to invite you to tune in with us next month. And but to learn more about CWT again, call 312-569-8624. And please stay tuned for Fathers Who Care. We'll be coming on next. And we'll be back here February 22nd. And then also for our viewers at home, if you ever have an emotional crisis or you need to talk with someone, we have a crisis line that you can call 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and talk to a live person at 1-800-273-TALK. And if you're a veteran, just hit 1 for veterans. So that's 1-800-273-TALK or 8255. Press 1 for veterans. And check us out on Facebook.com/VA Chicago to find out more about the program or to see a review of this program in case you missed the beginning. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next month.